The name Paul Gascoigne brings up deep feelings for football fans across Britain. This is the story of a man whose incredible talent on the pitch became tangled with very personal battles off it. His journey from a young boy in Gateshead to becoming one of England's most beloved footballers shows us both the magic and the cost of fame. Paul Gascoigne was born in 1967 in Gateshead, a working-class town in the north of England. His family moved homes many times during his childhood, creating an unstable environment. When he was just 10 years old, something terrible happened that would shape his entire life. He watched his friend's younger brother, Stephen Spraggan, die in a car accident right in front of him. This tragedy, combined with his father having seizures, led young Paul to develop nervous twitches and obsessions. His parents briefly took him to therapy, but his father had doubts about the treatment and stopped it. Football became Paul's escape from these dark thoughts. On the field, he said he could forget his worries about death and stop his nervous habits. The game gave him a place where he felt safe and could channel his energy in a positive way. In 1980, at age 13, he joined Newcastle United's youth team. His natural talent was obvious from the start. By 1985, Paul made his senior debut with Newcastle. 3 years later, he was already a key player, winning the PFA Young Player of the Year award. His style was joyful and creative, making fans fall in love with his approach to the game. In 1988, Tottenham Hotspur bought him for £2 million, a British record at the time. This move made him the country's most wanted young footballer. At Spurs, Paul helped the team win the FA Cup in 1991. His free-kick goal against Arsenal in the semi-final became one of the most famous goals in English football history. But it was the summer of 1990 that truly made him a household name across the world. During the FIFA World Cup in Italy, Paul's performances captured hearts everywhere. His skill, creativity, and raw emotion helped England reach their most successful tournament since 1966. The moment that sealed his place in football history came in the semi-final against West Germany. After getting a yellow card that would have kept him out of the final, Paul broke down in tears on the field. These tears, broadcast to millions, showed a side of football that fans rarely see. The public display of emotion made him more than just a player. He became a symbol of hope and vulnerability for an entire nation. This fame, however, came with a price he wasn't ready to pay. The intense media attention that followed him everywhere put pressure on someone who was already dealing with childhood trauma and mental health challenges. What fans saw as lovable behavior often masked deeper struggles happening behind closed doors. What do you think about the relationship between childhood trauma and later life challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about football's most complex figures. The peak of his football success was followed quickly by serious setbacks. In the 1991 FA Cup final, Paul suffered a severe knee injury that tore his cruciate ligaments. This injury marked the beginning of a pattern that would follow him for the rest of his career. His move to Italian club Lazio in 1992 was troubled by more injuries, keeping him out for most of the 1994-95 season. Despite winning trophies during his time at Rangers from 1995 to 1998, Paul's life away from football was becoming a growing concern. The famous dentist's chair celebration at Euro 1996, where teammates pretended to pour water into his mouth, was actually a reference to newspaper reports about his drinking. This public moment showed that his private struggles were becoming impossible to hide. In 1998, England manager Glenn Hoddle left Paul out of the World Cup squad. Most people believed this decision was based on his behaviour and drinking problems rather than his football ability. This omission effectively ended his international career and marked the beginning of his most difficult period. While Paul had been drinking throughout his career, his problems with alcohol, gambling, and overeating became much worse after football ended. He has said that gambling was his first serious addiction, leading him to steal money to support his habit. His battle with alcohol became the main focus of his life after retirement. In 1998, Paul entered his first rehabilitation program at the Priory Centre. Since then, he has been in and out of treatment facilities at least 7 times. His struggles have been severe and life-threatening. In a 2009 interview, he revealed that his heart had stopped 3 times while he was in rehab the year before. He also spoke about a suicide attempt where he called his sister to say goodbye before police rescued him. Paul's attempts to quit drinking have included extreme measures such as having anti-alcohol pellets sewn into his stomach. These desperate efforts show how serious his addiction had become. Medical professionals have helped explain the complexity of Paul's condition. The Priory Centre diagnosed him with bipolar disorder, a mental health condition that often occurs alongside addiction. People with bipolar disorder frequently struggle with alcohol because it can temporarily ease symptoms of anxiety and mania. This creates a dangerous cycle where mental health problems drive alcohol use, and alcohol use makes mental health problems worse. Understanding this connection helps explain why Paul has had so many relapses and why lasting sobriety has been so difficult for him. His friend Jimmy Five Bellies Gardner has spoken about Paul's generosity and kindness, describing a man who was often taken advantage of by others. This vulnerability likely made him more susceptible to his own destructive habits. Paul's struggles have often played out in public, leading to several legal problems. In 2013, he was fined £1,000 for assault and drunk and disorderly conduct at a train station. His lawyer explained that the incident happened after Paul had consumed a small amount of alcohol following a long period of sobriety. Stress about his sick father and pain from a hip operation made the situation worse. He faced additional legal issues in 2015 for harassing an ex-girlfriend and assaulting a photographer, and in 2016 for using racist language toward his bodyguard. One of his most serious legal battles was a sexual assault trial in 2019. A woman claimed that Paul had kissed her without permission on a train in 2018. Paul denied the charge, saying he kissed the woman to boost her confidence after hearing someone call her names. In court, he even took out his false teeth to show how his voice sounded that night. In October 2019, he was cleared of all charges and broke down in tears, thanking the judge, jury, and even his dentist. The media has played a significant role in Paul's story. British newspapers have covered his struggles constantly, turning his private battles into public entertainment. This attention hasn't just been a result of his fame, but has actually contributed to his mental and emotional problems. In 2015, Paul was awarded over £180,000 in damages from Mirror Group newspapers after a phone hacking scandal. He said this invasion of privacy had led him to develop severe paranoia and worsened his alcoholism. The constant public exposure of his personal problems, combined with the stress of being watched and exploited by the press, created an environment where private recovery became nearly impossible. The British public's love for him as a national treasure and tragic figure may have actually made things worse by removing some of the consequences that might have forced him to seek lasting change. To understand Paul's unique situation, it helps to compare his story with other famous people who have battled addiction. Hollywood actors Ben Affleck and Robert Downey Jr. offer interesting contrasts. Robert Downey Jr.'s story is one of spectacular failure, followed by spectacular comeback. His battles with drugs and alcohol led to arrests, prison time, and being blacklisted by the film industry. He was forced to hit rock bottom, which became the catalyst for real change. With strong support from his wife and friends, he rebuilt his career and has maintained sobriety for over 15 years. Ben Affleck has been open about his long-standing battle with alcoholism, which he says runs in his family. His journey has included multiple rehab visits, but his public story has focused on his commitment to being the best father he can be. Like Downey Jr., Affleck has successfully managed his public image while working on his recovery. Paul's story lacks this clear redemption arc. His relapses are frequent, his struggles remain highly public, and he hasn't achieved sustained sobriety or returned to professional success. While Affleck and Downey Jr. faced serious professional consequences that forced change, Paul has been somewhat protected by his status as a beloved figure. This free pass may have actually removed some incentives for the kind of rock-bottom moment that pushed others toward lasting recovery. The media treatment has also been different. While Hollywood actors have faced intense scrutiny, they've been able to control their narratives and frame their stories as triumphs over adversity. British tabloid newspapers, however, have treated Paul's life as an ongoing spectacle, actively contributing to his paranoia and making recovery more difficult. Paul Gascoigne's story shows us how fame, mental health issues, and media culture can create an environment where lasting recovery becomes extremely challenging. His tale isn't simply about lacking willpower, but about a man caught in a cycle of trauma, mental illness, and public exploitation. Recent reports confirm that Paul continues to face health challenges, including a hospitalization in July 2025 for a throat condition after being found unconscious by his personal assistant. His journey from the Gateshead boy who used football as an escape to the global icon who became trapped by his own fame, serves as both inspiration and warning. Paul Gascoigne remains a symbol of both human brilliance and human fragility. His legacy reminds us that behind every public figure is a complex person dealing with their own battles, deserving of both understanding and respect. What aspects of Paul Gascoigne's story do you find most compelling? How do you think society can better support public figures struggling with mental health and addiction? Leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more thoughtful explorations of football's most fascinating personalities.